Hi guys, thank you so much for tuning in to my video diary, and I am happy to be here, like in this space, in my apartment, in my turban and my lipstick and my freckles, in the essence that is me. Like I'm finally feeling like, not only am I feeling like myself again, but I feel stronger, and that's like a really big deal. So to those of you who are like new to my life and new subscribers, and you know, maybe you don't follow me on Instagram, but if you do, you know that a year ago I went through a really dark time, and it was due to a big breakup that I had with who I thought was gonna be the person I was gonna spend the rest of my life with. You know, I thought that this person was my soulmate, and it didn't work out, and it kind of left me shattered. Like I didn't know my left from my right. I didn't know how to be, how to act, how to feel. I almost moved out of my apartment because we lived here together, and it was just like all of that was just so much for me to deal with. And just recently I started feeling myself like not carrying, you know, that weight anymore. A year ago I thought my life was over, and I couldn't fathom that I could ever be as happy as I was during that time, because I was so happy, or I felt like I had reached, or I feared that I maybe reached the plateau of my happiness, and that I was never ever gonna be that happy again. And that thought alone and that feeling like was depressing. It's like, oh shit, like now what? Now I have to live like the rest of my life looking back at how happy I was, and I'm never gonna feel that way again. So I wanted to do this video because I feel like a lot of us go through this, and we go through this alone and in silence because we don't want to talk to other people, and we don't want to share with other people our weaknesses and things that make us sad and our failures, or whatever, or maybe we don't want to let that person know that we miss them. And I think that it's okay, like when you love someone and when you live with someone and when you're planning your life with someone, for you to think that it's over and you're not going to miss that person, and you're just like, I'm an independent woman. Like it doesn't matter how strong you are, like it's gonna break you down if you were really in love, you know what I mean? And that was me. Like I pride myself on being like a really strong person. I've been through a lot of things and I've always remained strong, but when I tell you, this situation gave me a run for my money. Like literally, like it was like nothing made sense anymore. I didn't know, like I didn't want to do anything. I didn't want to work. Sometimes I didn't want to eat. Sometimes I ate too much. Sometimes I just like laid in bed. I remember I would just, unless someone like literally came here, like, yo Chris, let's go out, or let's do this, let's do that, I wasn't doing anything. Like I wasn't motivated, you know? Sorry if I get teary talking about this, because it's kind of hard talking about like your previous sadness, because when I think about where I was then, it like makes me sad that I felt that way, you know, that I couldn't see that God wouldn't do me like that, you know what I mean? Let me cry. I'm so emotional. Like I'm happy, I promise. But it's like a really hard thing to deal with, because here's the thing about dating someone who you were friends with first, or being with someone who, you know, ends up being your best friend. Like when that relationship is done, that friendship is done. Or in this situation, like it's kind of like the person is dead but they're alive, you know what I mean? Not to sound so like melodramatic, but really it's crazy. The hardest part for me was my son, you know, because although I was dealing with the breakup, he was dealing with losing someone too. So for me, I wanted to be selfish and focus on myself because I was hurting, you know, but my son was hurting too, so I couldn't always give myself the attention that I needed because I was busy like trying to be strong for him. And it's crazy because after that whole situation happened, out of nowhere my son started sleeping in the bed with me, and he never did that. Like, he would always sleep in his room since he was 2 years old. He had his own room, his own bed, everything. And I think that he can sense that I was sad, and he can sense that like something wasn't right with mommy, and he just filled that gap, like that physical, you know. He would get in bed and he would cuddle and we would watch movies, and he was really like a big boy. And I was so proud, like looking back at that at 4 years old, like, you know, you might not know what's going on, you might not know the reasons, but you know that something's wrong and you know that someone's missing. And he stepped up to the plate. And it's so funny because the other day I think we were bringing groceries in and there was something that was like too heavy, and I'm like, no, Justin, like let mommy bring it in. And he goes, mommy, I'm strong enough, I'm the man of the house. And when he said that, like, it made me laugh, but it almost made me want to cry, because my little person, like my little human that I'm raising and bringing up, feels responsible for me. And maybe he feels as responsible for me as I feel for him, and that's really special. But anyway, from this video and my last video, y'all are gonna think I'm a crybaby, but it's okay if you think that, because I am a crybaby. So my advice to someone who might be going through this right now is, sometimes things get fucked up badly, and so badly that you can't even pull yourself out of the situation to see a brighter day. And some advice that one of my friends gave to me that I'm going to give to you is, allow yourself to feel what you need to feel. Don't try to like get around those feelings. And that's kind of like, I don't want to call it a mistake, but that's a trap that I fell into in the beginning, because I didn't want to deal with it, and I didn't want to deal with like that emptiness that I was feeling. So I was filling that void with other things, with other people, to not focus on what was actually happening in my situation. And that could be really dangerous, because, you know, you're doing that for a certain reason. And for me, in my head, I was just moving on. In my head, I'm just like, okay, like this is done, I'm just gonna go ahead and do me. But I was filling a void that can't be filled. Like, voids like that can't be filled with new people. You have to work through it, and you have to feel that, and you have to fill that up with your own love, the love for yourself. And it took me a year, you know, to figure that out. But in the beginning, it was just like, whatever I can put to fill that up, I was just like, okay, give me this clothes, give me this going out, give me this drinks, give me that dates, give me that. Like, I was just, I couldn't do it. Like, I couldn't. But the sun always comes out, and I knew that before I fell into this depression. Like, I knew that, but when you fall so deep, you forget that you're gonna be okay. And I forgot. I think the worst thing that you can do is fall into the blame game. Like, oh, well, you did this, and if you didn't do this, this and that, we wouldn't be here. It doesn't get you anywhere. What helped me is acknowledging, even just to myself, what I did. Like, I had to get to the point, like, okay, Chris, you did X, Y, Z, you could have done X, Y, Z, but you did it, now move forward. So in your next situation or your next relationship, you don't make the same mistakes. But when you get caught up in that blame game, whether you're trying to blame the person and putting everything on them for why you're no longer, or blaming yourself, which was kind of my situation in the beginning. It was just, I was carrying all of the weight. Like, okay, I should have did this differently, I should have did that, if I would have did this, if I would have said this, if I didn't do that. But really, it wasn't meant to be, because if it was meant to be, it would be. And it took me forever to really like get that through my head. And no matter who talked to me, whether it was my family, my friends, anyone who knew about how I was feeling, they would always say, okay, Chris, but, and I just wasn't trying to hear it. I was okay with carrying that, because for me, I put the other person so high on a pedestal that even after the fact, they could still do no wrong. You know what I mean? Like, that's how I looked at it. But it's really not about right or wrong. It's about what feels good. And I feel like when a relationship or when love stops feeling good, that's when we have to reevaluate and decide if it's something, you know, that we want to continue with. And if it's something that we don't want to continue with, that's okay too. You know, you don't have to settle, and you don't have to put yourself through that if that's not what you want, you know? So I think that if it's something you can see yourself walking away from, walk away, and know that it's not going to be easy, because that person is your comfort, you know? That's who you come home to if you live together. For me, that was my home base. So when home base left, it was like I'm dangling in space. I didn't feel like I belonged anymore, and it's a really lonely feeling, you know? There's one question that I don't think I've ever asked myself until 2 days ago. And this is when I was on Twitter, like just talking about relationships and talking about, you know, being a year post breakup and how I felt now. And I never asked myself, am I getting what I need? It's just something that I never even considered, because I was always considering what the other person needed. And that's just who I am as a person. I'm just outside of relationships, I'm always worried about if everyone else has what they need and I come last. But that's not okay. And if you put yourself last, how I put myself last, it's a recipe for disaster. Like, you have to put yourself first, put what you need first. This way, when you are in a relationship or when you are looking or courting, you already know what you need. And if that person isn't fulfilling that list of needs, then there's no need to take it any further. But if you start off with being so consumed in what that other person needs and not even understanding yourself or knowing yourself enough to know what you need, it can be a recipe for disaster. And that's not a good feeling, you know? Ask yourself, am I getting what I need? But before you even ask yourself that, you have to ask yourself, what do I need? Like, what do you need? What do you need? I would say that I've never loved someone the way that I loved him. And I'm happy that I was even able to have the opportunity to love so selflessly, because I don't think that everybody gets that. You know, I see people out here, and I have friends, and I have male friends who, they might have girlfriends or they might be in situationships, but the love isn't really genuine. You know, it's like the game, it's tit for tat. I'm grateful to have been in a situation that was genuine and pure, and just because it didn't last forever doesn't mean that it wasn't significant, and it doesn't mean that it didn't mean anything, you know? I'm so thankful and grateful that I even was able to have that experience, that thinking about it in that way allowed me to get better, you know? Thinking about it in a positive light, instead of thinking about what I lost, I think about what I gained. You know, I didn't lose anything. I mean, I lost a friend, and that's something that I still have to deal with, and that's something that I feel like it's been healing, and it will continue to heal over time. But aside from that, I gained the knowledge of knowing what I'm capable of. I'm capable of selflessly loving, and that is a superpower. Like, that is, everyone can't do that, and I know that I can. Not only can I love, but I can receive love, and that's a really good feeling, you know? looking at your losses as gains, that's the trick right there. Like, you can harp on something and I don't have this anymore and I don't do that anymore, or you can be grateful for what you did do and think about what it did for you as a person. And when you think about it that way, you start to realize, like, now I'm equipped. Like, now I have the tools that I need to really, when the time comes and when the time is right for me, to be in a healthy, loving relationship. It's not over. I don't think that love, I don't think you just get one shot at it, you know? And if anything, I'm just excited to feel that again. And since that situation, you know, I ain't trying to tell y'all too much about my love life. It ain't about my love life. It's about the bounce back. That's what this video is about. I'm on, you know, I'm on the bounce back. I'm not all the way up, but I ain't all the way down. Thank God, because down there, bruh, it's like stressful. It's nowhere to be. It's no way to live. So I'm like, if that's up, all the way up there, and I was all the way down there, I'm like, you know, I'm on the come up. I'm glowed up. You see me? Glowed up? I'm at a place right now where it's all about me. And I've never been there before. I mean, aside from my son, obviously, it's always gonna be all about him, but my personal life, my love life, I'm not attached to anyone. So right now I'm just like, okay, like, a movie is coming out, okay, you can go see it yourself. I'm just ducking all these advances. And I'm not saying, like, I don't have that many people in my DMs or that many people coming for me, but you know, there's a couple people out there, and I'm just like, I can't, like, I don't have the energy to entertain someone else, or I don't have the energy to get involved like that, because I'm finally at 27 years old at a place where it's just me. And I'm interested to see what I'm gonna get out of this. And you know, it's not a comfortable feeling for me because it's not what I'm used to. I'm used to, you know, I like to hold hands and I like to cuddle and I like cute text messages and date nights and getting dressed and dinner and Chipotle and all that stuff that comes with dating someone. I really, really enjoy that, but I'm about to date myself, y'all. Like, gonna hold my own hand. I'm learning how to be devoted and be good to myself, just how I was devoted and good to someone else in a relationship. And that is new for me because never ever have I put myself first. Like, in life, I just wasn't, I don't know, maybe because I'm just a giving person, it always makes me feel better when I see you know, when my actions make someone else happy. That is what makes me feel complete. So doing it for myself, it's kind of like, you know, you have to love yourself enough to know that you're deserving, and that's the space that I'm finally in. And I'm so thankful for being in this space. And the only way that I got here is that I just had to keep it real. Like, I had to forget the relationship or the failed relationship. I had to keep it real with the relationship that I have with myself. That person in my head and that voice in my head, you know, is not always nice. I'm not always nice to myself, and I have to tell myself, you're deserving, you deserve this, you don't deserve this, you can do this, you should do this, you need to do this for yourself. And anytime, like, I'm hearing like, nah, you don't deserve that, I quickly snap out of it, and that other part comes in like, yes, you do. So all that, you know, a year later, and I'm happy to say that I know what love is, and I know what it feels like. And love is seeing that person move on and being genuinely happy for them. And that's like how I feel inside. You know, it's still not easy. Like, when I first saw that that person moved on, it was just like, what? It was just unnatural, I would say, to see the person you've envisioned yourself with. You know, you thought about what your kids will look like, you fantasized and dreamed about your wedding day. So to see them with someone else, it's kind of like, it takes you back. But after like that initial feeling, I was just like, yo, all I could wish is for you to be happy, because I know that one day I'm gonna want the same thing, you know, and I would want that person to be happy for me. So I've also discovered a cycle about me, and that is I'm always in a thing, whether it's a relationship, got a bae, got a boo, got a zaddy, you know, got someone wanting to take me out for dinner, or, you know, I'm always like entertaining these things. But I had to ask myself, why do you feel like you have to do that? Like, and that's something that I'm still asking myself. Like, just because someone likes you doesn't mean that you owe it to them to entertain them, or it's okay not to have plans. You know, it's okay not to be courted. Like, it's okay to say, you know, no thank you, that's not where I'm at right now. And I'm finally there where I'm just like seeing all of these things, and I'm just so excited about my future and this time and what I can do in this time, because I have things that I want to accomplish. I have goals, and my love life has been my priority for so long, and my goals have come secondary and even tertiary to that, because, you know, like I said, I have my son, so my son always comes first. That is, when I say I put other things first, just know that Justin is first, and then my love life, and then my social life. You know, my priorities were all messed up, because for me, that feeling that I had was worth putting everything on the back burner. However, now I'm at a place where I'm just like, business first, like my career first, my dreams and my goals, and me first, for the first time. Like, it's such a weird feeling. I don't know, but I'm excited about it. I don't know, I feel like I look all chipper in the camera. I'm excited about it. So let's just get back to what I want to tell you guys, whoever is watching this. I know that it might feel like you will never love again, and it might feel like the end of the world, and you might be carrying all this guilt. And all I can say is, watching this video, it can help you, but nothing is going to change until you make the decision, until you decide, like, hey, I'm done. That's what happened for me. Like, I just got up one day and I looked around, and I'm like, whew, all right, so what's next? Because I physically and I mentally could not take it anymore. Like, I was beating myself up so bad and just replaying things in my mind and trying to figure out like what I could have changed, when the reality of the situation is nothing, because things play out how they're supposed to play out. And the sooner that we accept that as a fact, the sooner we can get up and let go of all of that baggage and move forward and move lightly. And that is the decision that I made, and it wasn't easy. And don't get me wrong, you still have your moments. Like, we're all human. I still had my moments where those moments are short and far between, because I know that I'm exactly where I'm supposed to be, with exactly who I'm supposed to be with, and that's me. And it's no regrets. You just gotta keep it moving and do you, and I'm doing me.